Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Hello and welcome to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weiskup, joined by my co-host and our ultimate pep captain. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And our other co-host, she's the pom-pom to our pod. It's Hillary Waltemath.
Hey.
Hi, Hillary. This episode is a special treat because we're talking to the star of Netflix's hit show, America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. It's Kelcey Wetterberg with us. Hi, Kelcey.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi, thank you so much. This is you heard my terrible puns at the beginning of the episode related to cheering. I'm really excited to jump in to the conversation with you here in a second. But before we do that, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. And you can learn more at nfm.com. Okay, so officially on with our special guest, Kelcey Wetterberg. Kelcey, I've got like a quick bio for you, and feel free to hop in and kind of like add to it if there's anything that occurs to you as we go through this. Kelcey Wetterberg is an Omaha, Nebraska native who gained recognition for her appearance on Netflix's hit show, America's Sweethearts. She's a former NFL cheerleader who spent several seasons dazzling fans on the sidelines. You're also a pediatric nurse. And I know that congratulations are in order. You just got married as of New Year's Eve.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, of course. We saw the article in People. It looked fantastic. And I wonder if that's like the best place for us to start. I'm curious about, I know this was kind of a plot point for the Netflix show, but dating and getting engaged. I'm curious about that process because you were in Dallas cheerleading and nursing, and your now husband was in Los Angeles and he was acting and nursing, and you did some long distance relationship before getting engaged. And I'm curious how you were able to kind of manage that with like these really demanding careers that you two have.
It was tough. It was really hard because obviously we were hundreds and thousands of miles away, but I mean, we were able to FaceTime a lot, and his schedule was a little bit more flexible than mine because I was working full-time Monday through Friday and then had stuff at night and on weekends. But he was working in the hospital as a nurse in the ER, so he had 12-hour shifts that he could kind of shift around, so that he could work like 3 or 4 or 5 12-hour shifts in a row, and then he would have quite a few days off. So he was able to come visit me quite a bit while we were doing distance, which was really nice. We were really lucky for that. But I know if he would have had a similar schedule to me, it probably just wouldn't have worked. I mean, we wouldn't have seen each other very much because it was really tough for me to be able to leave town, other than to maybe go home for an occasional holiday. But we made it work, and I think our love just got us through it all. We just really cherished each other and communicated well and pushed through. And he ended up moving to Dallas after, I want to say we were together for maybe 6 months. And he actually ended up taking a travel contract. So he was doing travel nursing, and most of the acting stuff was online after COVID. So he was able to audition and stuff by self-tape. So he was able to move out here and take a travel contract for nursing in Dallas. So we got to spend a lot more time together.
Yeah. I also found out in kind of researching for this episode, the fact that you're both originally from Omaha. Mm-hmm. You grew up like 15 minutes away from each other, but you never met. Mm-hmm. And obviously we talked about the nursing. You're both nurses. How weird is it to find someone like that? Where at least seemingly you had so many similarities, but you were like this far away from home.
I know. It really was such a God thing that I found him. It was actually through a mutual friend. A guy that I went to high school with actually was friends with him and posted a picture of him. And I was like, wow, he's really cute. And then I found out he was a nurse and everything. And we started talking. And But yeah, it's kind of crazy how paths cross, because especially with, I mean, my end goal probably for the most part is to be back in Nebraska, like when maybe kids come into the picture.
Oh, wow.
But I've moved away from home a few times, and being able to meet someone that would be willing to move back to Nebraska, to the Midwest, when I'm moving to like Arizona and all these warm places, you're not gonna find a lot of people that want to move to Nebraska eventually. So as much as I love it, it's hard to convince those warm weather people to Nebraska.
Yeah.
So I just got really lucky that I met him, and our families are just really similar values and everything. So I was lucky.
Yeah. And no shame to Nebraska, but that is a little bit of a hard
I
sell.
mean, you don't move here for the weather. I mean, that's
Right.
definitely not one of the selling points.
Yes. Yeah. And the people are great. And that's why I eventually
Right. Yeah.
moved back there. If you're from there, you know the value, but it is
Yes.
hard to get people to move too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. On paper, like it doesn't make sense on paper, but
Yeah.
like once you get here, like it
The
quickly,
hard-
yeah.
Yeah.
My parents were living in Arizona, and my dad sold my mom on the beautiful Nebraska sunsets. I'm not sure how she fell for that one,
Really?
but I don't know.
It worked.
That's amazing. Especially after Arizona sunsets. I'm
Right?
in
Yeah.
Arizona
I don't know.
too. They're gorgeous.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Kelcey, we of course have to ask you all about the wedding recently. My girlfriends and I were big fans of the show. And when we saw the photos on Instagram, we were, of course, sending them back and forth, talking about how stunning it was. And my girlfriend actually was married there in November. So it's just like, it's a beautiful, beautiful venue.
Oh, at
and
Leo?
yes.
Leo Ballroom? That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So I have to ask, what was there were so many standout moments, but I have to know what your personal favorite moment from the wedding was.
Oh, that's so hard because it was literally the best day ever. I think probably our first look was my favorite, just because like that
Oh.
intimate moment between me and Nate, like reading our vows to each other. There's a lot of like stress that comes with wedding planning and the day of, making sure everything goes right. But I feel like that was like the main moment where we really it was just me and him, and just kind of going back to like what we were really doing that day. You know, we're getting married. We're not just having a party with our friends. Like we're committing our life to each other for the rest of our lives. So it was just really special.
Yeah, certainly. So that was like a planned event in your day, like that first look moment for just the two of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And we wanted to read like private letters and vows to each other too. So that was planned before. We had it right before the ceremony.
Oh my gosh, Kelcey, that's so cute.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do I. I love it. Okay. I'd like to ask if we can about the Netflix show. You were such a clear star on it. But I'm just curious in general, what was it like, sharing personal parts of your life with like millions of viewers? I have like no frame of reference for how that would be. I'm just curious from your perspective.
You know, it's pretty wild. When we were filming the show, it didn't feel that way though. So we filmed for like over a year, probably 15 months before the show actually came out. And we knew it was going to be Netflix, but you just don't know how many people are going to see it, how many people it's going to affect, you know? So
Yeah.
we just went into a year. We're really busy. It's easy. The cameras would just come in and they were really quiet. It wasn't like our old show where the cameras were pretty invasive and kind of running the show.
Right.
It was, they were just quiet and standing there as like we were running practice and rehearsing and doing all the things that we normally do. So it really felt pretty normal, other than when they would come over to my house and it was just me like cooking. That's where I was like, okay, this feels very strange to just be in silence with like a camera guy in my house cooking. So that was where it kind of got weird, but it really didn't feel super invasive as it was going on. But then all of a sudden the show comes out and you see like how many people are like recognizing who I am and like just like touched by our stories and stuff like that. Like the messages you get on Instagram, just people connecting with my story and what I do and stuff was just, it was really special. And those are the things that I've tried to lean on, because it can be a little bit overwhelming because I'm naturally an introvert. So sharing my life with millions of viewers and stuff was kind of tough, but I just try to rely on and remember like the little girls that I'm inspiring to go after their dreams and just be a little bit more confident.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a particular scene or storyline from the series that resonates with you the most?
I would say maybe not necessarily a scene, but something just being a leader on the team I wanted for us was I knew how many great girls were on the team and how many stories that they had to share and like their great character behind who they are. And I was just so glad for the world to be able to see kind of an in-depth and deeper story to us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally does.
It's like behind the boots.
Yeah.
Just seeing like who we really are as people.
Yeah.
Because that was something that really impressed me coming into this environment was just like the women are really, really great. They're supportive. They're not like catty. You know, you get an occasional thing here and there because you're a bunch of girls on the team, but like they're really good people, really inspiring. So it was kind of awesome to see that like glitz and glamour kind of broken down and show us and who we really are.
Yeah, I think that's what I loved the former show, and of course love this show. And I think that's what really draws you in is like Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. Like you are like, it's designed to take that in as like face value and like the beautiful costumes and the performance and the appearances, but getting like a peek behind that and seeing like these are real girls that have a real skill and a real talent and work so hard. Like that's what really, I think, drew so many people in is, to your point, behind the boots. You get like a real glimpse at what goes on behind this like beautiful, picturesque, ideal scenario in front of you.
Thank you. That's all we could have wanted with the show coming out.
I'm curious the way, because it feels like obviously the show did such a good job of getting that peek behind the curtain, and that seemed like something that was super important to you. Is that how they talked about it when they came in to film it, or like what references did they give you references? I'm curious, like in setting up the show and having that conversation, what that was like from the jump.
So we had gotten to meet like the director and the team pretty early on, and he had done, have you seen the show Cheer on Netflix?
No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so they had done that show as well, and Last Chance U, which I hadn't seen Last Chance U, but I had watched Cheer, and just it wasn't their storytelling, the way that they tell stories was not like, I think a few of us had some scars from the old show just because it was more reality TV and it's kind of based on like making the drama. Is she going to make it? Is she not? This and that. But we really, even just seeing their work, their other work, you could see that they want to tell an inspiring story. It's very real and raw and a lot more emotion and deeper, but that's what makes it even more inspiring. So they weren't here to like make us look dumb on TV in front of millions of people. And we really got to know the director, and he's just an awesome man and just really convinced us of that throughout the whole season and got us to open up. And so we had a little bit of a reference, but honestly, we had no idea what was going to end up in the show. I mean, I watched it for the first time with the rest of the world. And at that point, I didn't know if I was going to be in the show, if I wasn't. I mean, they had filmed me.
Really?
They had filmed a ton of us. I mean, they were here for a year for like, they would come for like a couple weeks at a time and then go home for a couple weeks and then come for a couple more weeks. So they had a lot of material to go through. So you didn't really know who was going to be in it, who was not, who was. The only reason I knew that I was one of the main people on it was because I had to go to LA and do some interviews for the show. I was like, okay, well, I must be in it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm curious. One of the things we always like to talk about with athletes, because we feel like, a lot of them are very superstitious. Feels like they are always like a lucky rabbit's foot, and like they can't change their socks. Is that something from the cheerleading perspective that either you yourself have like some superstitions before going out there and cheering, or anyone on your team?
I would say me, not so much, but I mean, we do always pray. We do this certain prayer before we go out. And so if we forget to do that because we get pulled on to go on for a show earlier than we thought, we always feel like that's kind of bad luck. But there are some girls on my team that they wear these same boot socks every game, every performance, every time we wear boots.
Yes.
They feel like they're gonna like totally mess up or something if they don't. But I would say boot socks is pretty common. I think that's probably the main one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Interesting.
super
We've had some weird ones in the
Mhm.
past, and I'm curious if there's anyone that's like on your team. You're like, oh, that was a weird thing that they used to do. Is anything like that hop out, or is it more of the normal, like maybe just girls and women have it together a little bit more than like immature boys who don't want to wash their clothes?
Maybe, yeah. I'm trying to think if there were any weird superstitions. Nothing's really coming to mind. I feel like we're all pretty normal and not super superstitious.
Women, girls just have it more together. Yeah,
We must. Yeah.
That's what I'm
totally
taking.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, can confirm.
Mhm.
Can confirm.
Agreed.
Oh, well, Kelcey, we all know, and we've learned through shows like the DCC show and Cheer, that cheerleading is often like overlooked as like the physical sport that it is. And I think those shows have helped more people understand like the level of athleticism that's required. But from your perspective, what's one of those athletic features that's often overlooked or underappreciated, would you say?
I mean, I would say just in general, like it's always hard to be a dancer because you're not really looked at as an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of athletes, like you've got this big show, like you've got NFL football or you've got like NBA basketball where people come to see them perform, but we are always, in a sense, not the main show, unless you're like a ballerina and people are going to ballets, but we're not usually the main show. We're kind of an addition to the show. So it's hard to be looked at as really athletic. And that's always kind of like made me a little mad because like I know how hard I've worked and I've trained just as hard and as many hours as like Dak Prescott or any football player, big name NBA player, so it makes it kind of hard that your avenue is not looked at as the same, even though you've worked just as hard and put just as much like blood, sweat, and tears into it. So that can be tough, but I really do think that this is a movement that's coming around to show people that we really do have a lot of value. I mean, looking back, I know a lot of the UDA nationals, college nationals, those routines are kind of going viral that these girls are athletes and they bring as much to the table as like a football player would too. And it's just another avenue that for people to support. And I think women's sports in general is kind of coming up. So, I mean, we're really happy to be a part of that. I think DCC has been kind of lucky to always have kind of a name for itself. So within the Cowboys organization, we're seen as a little bit more equal because we have a name for ourselves. But I know a lot of other teams don't have the same benefits to that. So we've been really lucky. But I think there's a big movement going on to show that dancers really are athletes just like any other sport.
Yeah, you can certainly start to feel that. And it's got to be a proud moment being part of DCC that's helping kind of like pave that way or really bringing that movement or change come along faster.
For sure.
Have you ever had a moment where you thought during your training that I can't do this, I physically can't do it?
Yeah, quite a few times.
What did you do to push through?
I mean, honestly, being a part of a team is what has helped me in the past. I mean, I remember there were days when I used to compete with Arizona State dance team. We went to UDA Nationals and we were actually like a part of the Team USA Jazz team as well one year. And it can be like really grueling training for a competition like that. And there were times where, I mean, I was also in like prerequisites for nursing school and you just have so much going on that you feel like you can't keep going, but like your team is what you need to show up for, maybe it's not for me today because I don't have the energy to, and I really don't want to, but like I have to show up for them. So I think that has gotten me through a lot of tough times.
Yeah. The importance of, I think there's so much psychology around like being surrounded by people, especially people that support you and want you to do well, and how that can help anyone push through. And it's a good thing to keep in mind, especially if you're like a solo, even something as simple as like, I'm just trying to get, more fit this year. Like having a team around you is a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, people to encourage you.
Yeah, definitely. Kelcey, I'm curious, being Nebraska native, in addition to cheering for Dallas, you kind of mentioned some of these already, but you danced for Millard West, you danced for Arizona, UNL at one point. So you've been at this for years. I'm curious, do you remember like the first dance routine that you ever learned? Is that something that's like in your mind?
Oh gosh, I think I was like 3 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started when I was 3, so it was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
But I do remember my very first performance, my first recital. I was in this little teddy bear outfit. It was super cute. But I don't think I had any idea what I was doing. But my family just noticed that I loved it, even though I didn't know what I was doing. I really loved it, so they kept me in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so teddy bear outfit. Do you is there any context you can share with like what this play was about? Was it like stuffed animals? Like
It was
okay.
It was just a routine. I don't know. That was just the theme they picked. I don't even know what the song was. I'm sure my mom has the video, but yeah, we just wore these little teddy bear outfits, and there were 2 little boys in our routine too, and they had
cute.
big teddy bear costumes on with little picnic baskets. We just ran in a circle pretty much. That's all we did when we were 3 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Those are the best dance recitals ever.
I know.
So entertaining.
They are.
Yeah. And like clever choice by whoever decided on that. Like, what is going to make this adorable, like chaotic thing even more adorable?
Even more adorable.
Dress them as teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, we're all like Nebraska natives in here as well too, and we talked about like our affinity for Omaha and our hometowns, but how do you think Omaha shaped who you are today?
I think that it's a much more slow life in Omaha, and I'm really glad that I grew up in Nebraska. I actually grew up in Norfolk, Nebraska, which is even a smaller
okay.
town. Yeah, so very quiet, and like you still get out and you run outside with your friends and play like neighborhood hide and go seek, and just those simple times where I feel like now that I'm in Dallas and in a bigger city, it's so fast. People are always moving, and that's also come with the times too, but people are always moving and fast paced. And I'm just really grateful to have grown up in Nebraska where like, I feel like everyone is really grounded in their values.
Yeah, certainly. And is there a part of you that still kind of feels connected to that today?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
My entire family is still back there. And I think just like the kindness of Nebraskans has really stuck with me. Claire and I, Claire Wolford is another girl on DCC with me. She's from Lincoln. And people always call us the Nebraska nice girls.
Oh.
I feel like that's stuck.
You could be called way worse things.
Yes.
Right. We'll take it.
Yes.
So I feel like it is a stigma that is very true about Nebraskans.
Yeah. We'll take it. We'll take it for sure. One of our favorite questions coming up here. What do you remember about the house that you grew up in? You said that you've got your family still in Norfolk. Are they still living in the same place? If not, like, tell us about like growing up in the place that you came from.
So my family is not in Norfolk anymore. We actually moved from Norfolk to Omaha when I was in middle school.
Gotcha.
Just to get more dance experience. But my brother lives in Norfolk still. And we lived in a house from 7th grade until my parents are still there, from when we moved to Omaha. And I've always loved that house. My mom loves color. So our house has been painted like a million different colors, like all red, I think now it's like kind of a navy royal blue. So she loves color. So it was always fun to decorate, and she would always help me like redo my rooms. I loved redecorating my rooms. And when I was younger, I was much more of a fan of like pinks and purples and purple on the walls. So it was always a lot of fun to redo my rooms when I was younger.
Oh yes, I can relate to that so much. I went hard for a purple room for a
Right?
while. Yes, yes. And it was like wholesale change. Like the wall color changed, your
Yes.
bedding changed.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't a simple update. Like it was part of your like personal brand.
It really was a personal brand, and it just goes with who you change as a child too. I
Uh-huh.
remember one time I told my mom I wanted like different color pink checkered wall in my room. So like my dad was up there like taping all these squares on the wall. He's like, "You're kidding me. We're changing this again. We just painted it like a year ago."
Oh, I love that they let you do that. I think that
Oh,
it's like coming back around is letting kids like express
Yeah,
themselves, and
yeah.
it doesn't have to be perfectly aesthetic, but that's not the case for all households. So I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to like dig through your Instagram, see if we can find some pictures.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
For
yeah.
sure.
yeah.
I don't know if they're up there anymore still, but I'll find some.
Okay. Can we ask you about your gift guide? Because you helped put together a wedding gift guide for NFM. And really, there's some great pics in this. How did you approach the curation of that guide?
Well, I made it kind of when I was going through wedding planning and stuff. You're making your
Yeah, yeah.
registry and just seeing what you would need for a home. And then I went into the store, and I can't stop talking about the couch that I got recently. It is literally the best thing ever. It's not really obviously a wedding gift. We got it for ourselves. It's kind of a big
Right.
wedding gift, but I cannot stop talking about it. It's the best thing ever. I don't even think I've slept in my bed and since I got it. I can't remember what the brand is. It's on my gift guide, but
Yeah.
I actually had, before I got this couch from NFM, I had the same brand couch but in gray. I have a tan one right now, and it was smaller.
Right.
And I still have it in my garage because I can't bring myself to get rid of it. It's so soft and comfortable.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And I know you're in an apartment now. Is
Yeah.
that okay? And eventually you want to get to a house. So like maybe as we gets
Mhm.
into the
Don't get rid
house,
of
hold
it
on
yet.
to it. I like that idea. Good
Right.
strategy. Kelcey, if you could put together, this is my offbeat question. If you could put together like the ultimate gift basket that reflects your life, both as like a cheerleader, a nurse, a newlywed, what would be in the gift basket, and what's the one item that you'd insist everybody try?
That's a good question. Let me think for a second. So the ultimate gift basket, how many items am I allowed?
You're allowed as many as you want to throw in there because it's your ultimate gift
Mhm.
basket.
Okay. I would say my favorite thing in the world is a soft blanket. So I'd put a soft
Mhm.
blanket in there. Very comforting. I think everyone can use that.
Yeah, especially this
sure.
time of year. Yeah.
Mhm.
For sure. It's freezing.
Mhm.
And I'm in Dallas, so I'm being
You got more snow than us, I think,
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
So
We did.
Yes.
It's all gone now, but and then I would say a good candle
Mhm.
and a mug.
Mhm.
Trying to think of what else. I feel like that's a good classic gift guide.
Mhm.
Little gift basket.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I like it a lot. I think it's speaks to especially the time of year that we're in. We want to be comfy and cozy, and
Yeah.
I feel like if nothing else, you have that soft blanket, and everyone
Exactly.
needs it this time of year.
Yeah. Huge fan of like practical items that
Yeah.
you would use regularly, but maybe feel like a little bit more luxurious.
Right.
fun to
Like maybe
elevate
something
'em.
you wouldn't
Mhm.
splurge for yourself, but a
Mhm.
good blanket is
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. I feel like those are all my
really
comfort
worth it.
items.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get
Yes.
someone else.
Okay, Kelcey, last question for you. We are into the NFL playoffs as we're recording this. Do you have a favorite to win the Super Bowl?
Anyone but the Eagles, for sure.
Why do you hate the Eagles? What's is that just the
Big
classic?
Cowboys rivalry.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just not, the Eagles are not for me. I don't
Fair. Okay.
them. Yep. But
Anyone else you're fine with?
I would say Chiefs are an easy pick because they're Midwest. They've been doing great. They probably will win it again this year. But I kind of am rooting for the Lions.
Yeah, me too.
Love
Yeah.
what Campbell has got going on up there. I feel like he's such a great coach. It's been awesome to see them like grow over the past couple of years, even though I'm not a Lions fan.
Yeah.
I really hope that they get it because they haven't been great in a while. So I'm rooting for them.
Like even for that city, like I feel like Detroit could use a good pick me up.
Yeah. Overdue.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelcey, I wish I would have had my phone out to record that because my fiance is the biggest Eagles fan.
No way.
And I've been like hyping up all week that we get to chat with you this week. So
Tell
I'll
him
have to wait for the recording to come out so that he can hear that.
I'm sorry, but
That's okay. He'll be
Eagles
fine.
fans are just the worst.
Oh, for real. They have a prison in
Shots
there,
fired. Oh my
a jail
gosh.
cell in their stadium for a reason, you know?
Gosh, Kelcey, all our Philadelphia listeners now. It's so
No,
many
I'm
of
so
them.
sorry.
They're so No. Well, thank you so much for doing this. You clearly brought your A game to this episode. We appreciate it. I also want to thank my co-hosts Becca and Hillary, our producers Ann and Scott, and all our listeners. And the last thing, we're giving out free home life advice on nfm.com/podcast. So send us your questions. Bye for now. But remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hillary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.